We talk about our final test results of the 2021 Kia Seltos, a CR survey with surprising results about what people would want to improve most about their cars, and are people speeding more during this coronavirus lockdown? Next on Talking Cars. Hi, and welcome to Talking Cars. I'm Jennifer Stockberger.
I'm Ryan Pilakowski.
And I'm Mike Monticello.
So we continue to work from home, as you can see. Welcome back. We'll go through our typical chapters here, starting with news, which for this week happens to be Consumer Reports news. There was a survey done recently, a nationally representative survey, which means it's not just CR members, about what people would desire to have improved about their vehicle if they could. And not surprisingly, or maybe surprisingly, the number one answer was fuel economy. So there's a couple things around that, including the timing of the study, because it was done during this Corona stay at home, stay safe period. But Mike Monticello, any thoughts around that survey and the story?
Well, so we've seen this before where we've done a survey and the number one priority for people that they want to improve was fuel economy. And I'll be honest, it surprised me the last time I saw it, and it surprised me again this time. What we asked, the survey people asked, which three attributes of the current vehicle had the most room for improvement? And fuel economy topped the list, followed by purchase price and maintenance costs. And like you said, Jen, that's even during this coronavirus time when fuel is very inexpensive right now. So the fact that it's inexpensive and people still want their cars to be improved. Keep in mind, that's partly because so many Americans buy, what do they buy? They buy pickups and SUVs, right? Which don't have, the greatest fuel economy. But what's interesting about this, I think, is that it goes against, kind of what the current administration is pushing for, which is to roll back fuel economy standards. And CR's advocacy department has done some calculations that show that rolling back fuel economy will actually end up costing Americans billions of dollars in fuel savings. And that might not make sense because you think, well, it costs money to put fuel economy technology into cars, but you end up saving so much more in the end. So,
Right. Ryan, any thoughts?
Well, people are paying attention and they care. And it's not even about the money, I don't think. Like, no matter what we do going forward, we need to be more fuel efficient and have a lighter footprint on this earth, right? Fuel prices are cheap right now, but guess what? They're probably going to go back up. I mean, history repeats itself, right? And it's not even just our members, like Jen said. This is a nationally representative survey.
Yeah, so I think your point, Ryan, about it being cyclic, yes, fuel prices are way low now, but at some point, again in the future, we're likely to be pushing that $3 a gallon mark at another point, and that people aren't just taking this moment. The other tie too, as you talked about, that lighter footprint. Fuel economy directly relates to greenhouse gas emissions. And if there's one thing we've seen, even during this brief period, it's that how quickly the air gets cleaned up, et cetera, even with just us being off the road for this Corona period. So it's really, really good to see people thinking ahead. And like we say, Mike, you said you were surprised fuel economy's on people's minds.
right. I mean, I think it's great that people are not just thinking in the present, because it is very easy to think in the present. Oh, gas prices are cheap right now, so I'll have it, I won't worry about that. Maybe I want something else about my vehicle that's important. But so they're obviously thinking, okay, yes, it's cheap now, but they know down the road it's not going to be. So that's why they're saying that this is so important to them. I think there's a couple other numbers just to kind of show both sides. It's always important to show both sides.
Yes.
There's two sides to every story. So within the survey, some of the numbers are 34% support sticking with the already previously established goal of 5% annual improvements to fuel economy, right? So 34%. 24% support the government's new plan of just a 1.5% annual increase in fuel economy, but 39% neither oppose nor support the plan. So I think it's important to know that it's not like it's overwhelming that people want the 5% gain. So,
and to that point, there's what the government mandates and there's what we select as consumers. All good points. Again, the whole study, we did a story about it. You can check that out at consumerreports.org and see what else people wanted improved about their vehicles. So moving on, we'll go to From the Track. We have completed testing of the 2021 Kia Seltos. Yes, one of the few vehicles that is already out with the 21 version.
It's futuristic.
Again, just some stats here. This is a small SUV. We tested the S trim, which is a 2-liter 146 horsepower engine with a CVT. Purchase price was $24,800, so that mid-20s, small SUV. Higher trims get a 1.6-liter turbo with a dual clutch automatic. And actually, because it's a cousin of the Hyundai Kona, that was the engine and transmission pair that we had tested in our Hyundai Kona. Front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and again, kind of shares other components with the Kona as well. So I think I'll start with you, Ryan. Impressions of the 2021 Kia Seltos.
So I I like it. It reminds me of a Kia Soul because it's very similar, but it's an all-wheel drive Kia Soul, which I think is a major plus. It's maybe a little smaller, but for that size vehicle, I'm 6'2". I fit in it very nicely. I have plenty of room. I mean, it's like the Kia Soul. The Kia Soul had a lot of room in it actually for a taller driver, and this is very much like that. Handling wise, it's not a razor sharp, overly exciting car to drive, but it's a smaller footprint, so it's nimble. It did very well in our track test. We went through our wind maneuver at a very commendable speed. It was just secure handling around the track. It's stiff. The car rides stiffly, but it kind of fits that price point in a sense. It's a bargain, I think, at that price, but it's got some vices. It's definitely a stiff ride, and the CVT can be a little flary, and that makes the motor noise a little intrusive. But that being said, it's a fun little car to buzz around in. It's super practical, I think. What do you think, Mikey?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of that. Unfortunately, I mean, it's a good vehicle. But it didn't score high enough, to be CR recommended. It's behind vehicles like the Subaru Crosstrek, the Hyundai Kona, with which it shares components, and the Nissan Rogue Sport. It's funny because you're a tall guy, Ryan, but and this vehicle it's pretty small. Yet tall drivers like you fit in it just fine. Plenty of headroom. There's, as far as the driving position. It has a fore-aft adjustable center armrest, which just, makes it more comfortable for people of all different sizes to find a nice position. The center console, this is an issue we harp about on many cars. It's, it's hard plastic. It does hem you in, but, I like things like, it has a leather-wrapped steering wheel for $25,000. That's not that common. And so, they really tried to put some nice stuff in there like that. Like the other things they have, like, They put in some neat trim throughout the cabin. Yes, there's a lot of hard plastic, but there's some blue trim, kind of textured blue trim, blue stitching. They kind of made the speaker grills look, glossy black plastic. So just some things to kind of make it feel a little more expensive than it is. But yeah, it's loud inside, especially when you push that engine. We were talking about this continuously variable transmission. It's actually one of the better ones, because it does those artificial shifts. It's trying to mimic an automatic. But if you really start pushing the engine, really trying to get some real acceleration, well, that's what, like you said, Ryan, that's when you start to see the CVT flaring, the things that we don't like about a CVT, and then combined with a loud engine. Now the engine's revving really high. Well, it's going to get loud inside. And of course, there's the stiff ride that is definitely rougher than a lot of its competition.
Yeah. Brian, do you think that that's the trade-off? It has the stiff suspension, which also makes it nimble in the handling regard?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly that's the trade-off, I guess. I look at it though, is that the safety-oriented stuff, the handling is good. It's got great braking. It did very well in our braking test. But the ride's stiff, the creature comforts are a little off. So it's a trade-off, but it's kind of a safe trade-off, right? I mean, we'd rather have a safer the car being safe and not a little more comfortable, I guess, in that sense. You can't have it all for that price, you know.
And you mentioned the Kia Soul, right? I mean, some of the attributes of the Kia Soul we see here as well. We see in general, other than some pretty thick A-pillars that get very thick at the base, the car has really good outward visibility. What you talk about safety, outward visibility is importance for safety, you know. So, and the fuel economy is pretty good.
Yeah.
And for an all-wheel drive, yeah.
And I was going to mention that, that two things I find funny, the CVT, we have seen success with those smaller displacement CVT combos in terms of fuel economy. And this is very good for its size. But I always find it funny that it has this CVT, but then they put the fake shifts in.
Right.
I just always like, we want that. We want to feel like it's shifting, even if it's really not. The only other thing I was going to say is in terms of scoring, that stiff ride, the noise, they do hurt its overall score. And the fact that they did not put all of those critical safety features, automatic emergency braking, forward collision warning, standard across the lineup. That base LX trim does not get those as standard equipment. So that hurt. They don't get those points that we award for vehicles that would have that across the board. Did you have something else, Mike, you were going to add there?
No, I was going to make that exact point, and you stole it from me. Thanks a lot.
Sorry.
But the lack of standard advanced safety features on the base trim does hurt it in our scoring.
Right. So, but I certainly get the sense, yes, the score reflects what the car does in terms of ride and noise. But to Ryan's point, it may be a car you actually like. So again, tease out those tools. You may actually prefer that handling and be willing to give up, a little, like you say, of the creature comforts for that vehicle. So check out, again, consumerreports.org, the overall score and all the details of the 2021 Kia Seltos. So that brings us to audience questions. And this week we have three video questions, which we love. Send all of your questions to TalkingCars@iCloud.com. We love the videos. You're seeing us at home. We love seeing you guys in your spaces as well. So the first question is from Chris in Ontario. Take a listen.
Hey, Talking Cars. I'm the proud owner of a 2018 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk, and I love everything about that truck, except for one minor detail. The version of UConnect that came with that model does not support Android Auto. My question for you is there any way I can upgrade the UConnect to the latest version to take advantage of Android Auto? Love the show. Can't wait for the next episode. Thanks, guys.
So first of all, Chris, that is a nice video. Maybe he could work for our video department. You did some nice work there. We appreciate it.
Dave Abrams burn.
Yeah. No. Sorry, Dave.
We're talking about our producer in case people weren't aware of
producer
who I'm
Dave
talking
Abrams. But yeah, nice job, Chris. We like the quality of your video. So to your question, sorry, we'll talk about that. Mike Monticello, any advice for Chris?
Yeah. So, first of all, it's great that Chris loves the Cherokee so much. I reached out to people at Jeep, and what they told me was they said that unfortunately, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility with UConnect first became available on the 2019 Jeep Cherokee, not his 2018. And they said they weren't aware of any options to upgrade, although they said they loved the fact that our audience member loved the vehicle so much. So I talked to CR's chief mechanic, John Ibbotson, and he said, luckily there are some options out there. Unfortunately, none of them are really cheap. But there's some companies such as infotainment.com, which actually is able to retrofit the 2019 UConnect systems into these 2014 to 2018 Cherokees. And it's something you can do at home. They have a very in-depth video, and it's nowhere near as complicated as you might think it would be to take out that whole centerpiece. But you're looking at, probably $1,000 or more. It can get pretty expensive to do this. You can also go a true aftermarket route with a different system entirely. But again, you're looking at, $1,200 or more to do this. So, and again, that's something you could also do yourself. But keep in mind, aftermarket systems, it's a guarantee they're going to have all the functions that your original system did. And I also want to point out that with that, the first system where it retrofits a 2019 system, you're still going to, after you install the the new head unit in the car, you're still going to have to take it to your dealer or a mechanic who has the right technology for the final like programming of this whole system. So there are some options. None of them are inexpensive, unfortunately.
Yeah. And my only thought, you go back to our day, and again, I'm going to date myself a little, when all of the infotainment was somewhat modular, you could take out your CD player and put in something better. Mike, maybe you had like an 8-track. Maybe you had an 8-track in your car when you were young. But anyway, you could change those out. There is so much integrated into those infotainment screens, including safety items like your backup camera. It is no longer like plug and play like back in our day. So I would be cautious of, certainly some of those items. But Chris, it might be worth looking into. So
you lost Ryan when you said 8-track. He had no idea what you're talking about.
He knows.
Only us oldsters.
Right.
He's seen him at a tag sale.
There you go.
I saw him at a museum once. Yeah.
Yes. He was like, I had to teach my kids what a rotary phone was, but that's another story. Anyway, moving on. Our next question is from Colin from Michigan.
Hey, Talking Cars. I have kind of a weird question. So if we look right here, this RAV4 was built in Japan, but then the one right next to it was built in Canada. So is there any noticeable difference between where these cars would be made in terms of quality or anything like that? I know a lot of the high volume models are built in a bunch of different assembly plants. So, would you ever notice the difference throughout the life of the car? Thanks. Have a good one.
So, Ryan, should Colin expect a different RAV4 depending on where it's built?
That's a good question, but the answer is no. I mean, they should be the same. They should be the same. The parts and the manufacturer or the factory is building to the same specs. And they've become very good at this, even if they're built in two different countries. We in our reliability survey, we don't even go to that level of finding out which plant these were made at. We go to the trim level and that's it. Because we've seen tiny little things, but if you think about the amount of cars we've driven at the track over the years, we've driven BMWs that were built in Germany and then built here. You can't tell the difference. You could maybe start really nitpicking some of this stuff, but you got to really look. You should be getting the same car.
That's great. And again, you made the point. The trim may have different features that are visibly different, but shouldn't differ in terms of plant.
Right. And reliability should be the same, just because they're going off the same specs. And it's, modern day.
And we've already talked about, and I know we've talked about it on the tire side, specifications and quality practices tend to come at a company. They're a company philosophy, not necessarily plant to plant. So you'd think, if Toyota has certain quality practices, they should be the same if they're built in Japan or the United States from a company philosophy. So very good question, though. I like that.
That's a great question. Yeah.
So our next question is from Mitchell in Denver, Colorado.
Hello, Talking Cars. I'm graduating from high school this month, and I'm about to buy my first car. My budget is $12,000, and I'm looking for something that's reliable, gets good gas mileage, and can drive in the snow occasionally. I'm looking at the 2013 Golf TDI, and I'd like to know if you think that that's a good idea. I'm also wondering what else I should consider. Thank you. Bye.
So first of all, Mitchell, congratulations on your graduation. I have family and friends who are graduating, and my heart goes out to you guys who aren't having what we would consider the traditional graduation, but that doesn't make your accomplishment any less so. So congratulations to you. I also think it's awesome that you have $12,000 to spend on a new car at your age. That's fantastic. This will be a graduation you will not forget. That's for sure. So to get to your question, I'm going to go to Mike Monticello first. Do you have a pick for Mitchell?
Well, yeah, so this is actually a tough question in a way because, there's several things going on here. First, there's the fact that he's looking for a reliable car, but Golfs haven't really been that reliable for a while. Since 2012, the Golf has only had above average reliability once in 2018 for the 2018 model year. So number two, there's the whole Dieselgate. So You want to make sure that that vehicle, if you're thinking about buying it, has had the proper fixes. And then there's the fact that, some of us are still kind of, in a sense, just annoyed that VW, there was that whole cheating scandal. But the other thing is that those TDIs are actually great driving vehicles. The Golf is a great driving vehicle. And with the TDI engine, has this really nice low revving nature that with a diesel, but that strong, kind of low end grunt that comes with that turbo coming on. And then it has great fuel economy. So, I mean, it's kind of like, but he almost answers his own question. If he wants reliable, then probably this is not the vehicle to go with. So I came up with a couple thoughts. So one is 2016 Honda Fit. And, that 2016 might be a little bit of a stretch price wise. But, because it was redesigned in 2015 and it was only average reliability when it was redesigned. And I know, normally the producers, our video producers say only come up with one, but I give people more for their money, right? So I also thought 2013 Mazda CX-5, much above average reliability. The prices should be in the proper range. You can get it in all-wheel drive, but I just want to make so that Mitchell knows, all-wheel drive only gives you forward traction. It doesn't help you in the snow as far as stopping. So you don't have to get all-wheel drive if you want to save a little money and get a little better fuel economy. You could go front-wheel drive and then put winter tires on it, and then you could actually accomplish a lot of what he's looking for. And then the other one is 2012 Toyota RAV4. If you're talking reliable and good fuel economy and the ability to also get the vehicle in all-wheel drive, it's hard to beat the RAV4. It's been just dead solid reliability it's near bulletproof. And so I'd say 2012 Toyota RAV4 would be a good one as well. But the CX-5 is definitely more fun to drive if that's important.
Yeah. I had the winter tire thing in my notes too.
Stole
you
it.
Make a front wheel drive.
Yeah.
Boom. How about you, Ryan? Any thoughts for Mitchell? A pick?
Yeah. So I only picked one because I listened to our producer.
You follow the rules.
A 2014 Mazda 3 hatchback, fun to drive, very good on fuel. Reliability is not perfect, but it's very good, and you can get it in a manual.
Right.
So it's kind of like a
fun.
Golf in a sense of get the hatchback, roomy, practical. Get some snow tires on that if you need to, and off you go. And it was right in that price range.
So at the risk of sounding a bit motherly, I'm certainly old enough to be Mitchell's
What do you
mother.
mean risk?
Hey, I literally, if you took what Mitchell said, reliability, fuel economy, Toyota Corolla, 2017 even, Toyota Corolla, bulletproof reliability, standard safety. Again, that's where the motherly part comes in. All of that standard safety equipment, automatic emergency braking, forward collision warning. And I was looking at our fuel economy numbers. The last time we tested the TDI in a 2010, 29 city, 47 highway, 37 overall. Corolla, 23 city, 43 highway, 32 overall. Not very far away from even the diesel TDI. And I was pretty impressed. So, I know it's not the most exciting car, so I did put a little note there. It would mean a stretch to the pocketbook, but the Toyota Corolla hatch. But that didn't come out till 2019, so it would be a stretch to Mitchell's budget. But hopefully, Mitchell, we've given you some good thoughts around both the TDI and some other options for you. So moving on, we do have one written question, and that is from Sam from Connecticut, a neighbor. I've been traveling less recently due to the coronavirus outbreak, but when I do leave to run essential errands, I have noticed many more cars on the highway driving incredibly fast, in excess of 80 or 90 miles per hour. It seems some people are taking advantage of fewer vehicles on the road by driving very dangerously. I've seen some reports about accidents on the roads declining during lockdown, but fatalities going up. Did this mentally make it more likely for me to be rear-ended, or am I wrong? Ryan, any thoughts for Sam?
Unfortunately, I've seen a similar behavior. People are. There's probably a few things going on here. There's less cars on the road, so they think it's safer. They can go fast. there's less police, they might be thinking, or they're less apt to pull you over because they're afraid of getting the coronavirus or exposing themselves. It's not safer to go faster. The best thing he can do is just move over, stay in the right lane, let these people go. Don't even try to get in the way. It's not worth it. It's unfortunate because, the speed increase, your chances of a very serious accident go up, obviously. And, just this is not a good idea. We should obey the speed limits and calm down a little. I think people are excited to get out of their house too. They're a little stir crazy. It's unfortunate, but
yeah,
I've seen this myself.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Mike?
Well, yeah, I mean, so, obviously you should normally be as alert as possible when you're driving your car. And you might think, oh, okay, well, there's less people on the road. It's safer out here. I don't have to pay maybe quite as much attention. But actually, because of these higher speeds that we're seeing, and I'm going to read a little something from this association that has also done some studies on this. But so now, because people are driving at higher speeds, you actually need to pay even more attention than you usually do, because if the closing speeds on each other is going to be so much higher, and if you get in an accident, it's likely to be even worse. But there's this Governor's Highway Safety Association, and they put out this, they did this study talking about this. They talked about how emptier streets may be encouraging some drivers to flout traffic safety laws. And there's a word you just don't see that much anymore, flout, including speed limits. Despite there being far fewer vehicles on the road due to COVID-19 stay-at-home orders, state highway safety officials across the country are seeing a severe spike in speeding. Many states have reported alarming speed increases, with some noting a significant surge in vehicles clocked at more than 100 miles per hour. And the other thing that they talk about, and this is something we talked about on a previous podcast, is yes, we want to get out there and do some driving for your car, for your car's, well-being, and for your own personal well-being. But remember that when you do that, when you do sort of excess driving that you don't need to do, you're increasing the chance of you getting in an accident. And now that means there's going to be police are going to be called, firefighters. Last time I said fire people, I'm saying firefighters this time. And then, of course, the healthcare personnel at a hospital or whatever, if you end up having to be taken there, or the EMTs that come to the scene of the accident. So that's why it's important to don't do the excessive driving. But for sure, right now, with the way people are driving, which is just ludicrous that they're seeing speeds of over 100 miles an hour frequently, you have to be even more alert than ever.
Yeah. I too have experienced it, and not just, Sam, the excessive, it's easy, get in the right lane and let them go because there's less traffic. It was actually a dive in, dive out. They were just threading themselves through where I was on the highway, and it was a little crazy. I do think people, as we're in this lockdown longer, just are looking for some way to release energy. My concern was not just, the increase of risk for serious injury when you're going that fast, but if you're not used to driving 100 miles an hour and you lose, your chances of losing control are so much higher. So yes, Sam, give them as much room as you can. Like you say, Ryan, maybe even pull over and just let them go.
Let them go.
Let them go, because it's not worth it. And don't let them push you, to doing something dangerous for yourself either.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's all for questions. Mike, you bring up hospitalization. I do want to say, thank you to all the people that are allowing, all the healthcare workers, the essential employees, and anybody from the doctors and nurses to the people that are bringing our mail, that I can still go get groceries, the clerks in the grocery stores. We are safe at home, but those people are going in every single day, and we appreciate them so much, anybody who is essential. So that will do it for this episode. As always, check out more information on anything we talked about in the show notes. Keep all of your questions, videos coming, TalkingCars@iCloud.com. And continue to be safe and well. And we'll see you next time.